Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is Dan in such a good mood? You ever get the chance to say, I told you so to somebody? You ever get that chance? You shouldn't feel good about it, but you do. Also, I watched a killer episode of The Mandalorian last night. I'm telling you, if you're not watching The Mandalorian, you're missing out. It's like a Clint Eastwood movie every week set in outer space. Really, really good. Put it like this. If you love the good, bad, and ugly, you'll love The Mandalorian. So, yeah, Disney, that's a free plug. But if you want to pay me for it, I'll send you my address. Send a check. Actually, send it to my bank account because I don't trust checks. So, but what I told you was going to happen is happening. As the riots and protests spin more and more out of control. See, as we come up to Election Day and the aftermath that I think everybody knows will ensue after Election Day, rich people are hiring private security. Now keep in mind, these are the same rich people and celebrities who told you you don't need the police. They said, hey, abolish them. And I tried to warn you then. Elizabeth Warren has private security. And your tax dollars pay for it. She lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion surrounded by fences and gates. But she doesn't want you to have one at the border to stop drug dealers and smugglers from coming through. Nancy Pelosi. Look what she did. Cut the stimulus bailout. Said, no, if I can't get money to bail out these Democratic-run states that have went through their pensions and, mismanaged their money, then I don't want it. See, they don't care about you. And this is just another example. So, in the spirit of the moment, the Dan Dawson Show told you so. So, and this was in Law Enforcement Today, and I'm not going to read you the whole article. If you want to see the whole article, please go over to my Facebook page, The Dan Dawson Show, and you can see the whole article. And it's really worth the read. It's really worth the trip. So, anyway, it says report celebrity apartments and police defunded Manhattan to be guarded by armed security on Election Day. It was posted by Chris Elliott. The date is November 1, 2020, which is today. So, check this out. Now you went with them. See, you listen to these celebrities. You listen to Colin Kaepernick say, we don't need police, abolish prisons. And now if you notice San Quentin got cut in half, I've already told you the state of Washington is going to reduce its prison population by a third, 33%, regardless of crime. So they've released all these criminals out back amongst you. They've gotten rid of your police. They've convinced you that you need gun control. That the average law-abiding citizen shouldn't be allowed to have a firearm with 10 rounds or more than 10 rounds in it. And you never even thought to yourself, size of the magazine really doesn't matter. If you train hard enough, trust me, I know. You can reload a magazine in under a second. It doesn't take any time. So, doesn't matter if you have a 30-round magazine or 3 10-round magazines. But see, now we've been disarmed because the celebrity says so, but they don't have a stake in the game. They don't have skin in this game, you see. It's like betting with house money because they've went and hired private security to protect them and their families, while you, if you fell for that, have nothing to protect you. But if you didn't run out and get a gun, make sure you're well trained. There's a lot of great firearms companies around. My personal recommendation would be if you're here in Washington State, Cushman Tactical. They do a really good job. Actually, as a matter of fact, the founder, Kelly, I had him train my old lady, my daughter, to shoot because the husband that teaches his wife to shoot, that wife has a fool for an instructor. Plus, as a husband, you don't want to have to put yourself through that because all kind of relationship dynamics come in. But don't do that. But back to the main subject. The London Terrace Towers, an exclusive apartment building in Manhattan, are allegedly hiring armed security guards to be in place on Election Day. Did any of my listeners hire armed security guards to be in place in their house on Election Day? I didn't think not. Why? Because they are afraid that mass protests, confrontations between extremists, and potential property damage will ensue after the general election on November 3rd. Well, and let me read you the statement that the London Terrace Towers put out to their tenants. And the statement reads, as you are aware, government enforcement agencies across the country are making plans to control the possible civil unrest following the upcoming presidential election. Regardless of the outcome of the election, our concerns range from isolated violent incidents to a long stretch of mass protests, confrontations between extremists, and potential property damage. Now, see, they're taken care of, so they're not worried about it. And I'm telling you this, even though it actually does me a financial disservice. And I'm going to, at the end of this, show you how I could be making so much money. But instead, I'd rather give the message to the people. I'd rather for people to be safe than for me to be financially well off. An anonymous person told the New York Post, everybody is worried about security. Every top building is adding security. It's out of control. We hope it won't be needed, but we will be ready. There will be officers with submachine guns. We've also had immense security, but there will be more. We'll have extra patrols. The entire building can be shut down with one button. So, you, the law-abiding citizen, who gets up in the morning, makes breakfast, takes your kids to school, goes to work, comes home at the end of a back-breaking day, you don't have the right to have over 10 rounds. Now, catch what they said. You don't have the right to have over 10 rounds and their private security will have machine guns, submachine guns, which are fully automatic weapons. So see, the rich have duped you. They duped you. These celebrities have gotten over on you. Now you're outgunned and outmanned. You can't defend your house. But if you go in one of these buildings, I guarantee those submachine guns will go off and they will put you down. Are you feeling used yet? You really kind of should. Let me go on. There's more statements in here. Other luxury apartment buildings are also taking heed of security advice given by the New York Police Department and adding higher levels of security. A resident board member of the 432 Park Avenue building told the New York Post, and before I read his quote, you guys ever played Monopoly? I think everybody's played Monopoly. You remember Park Place? It's based on Park Avenue. Remember, it was the highest piece on the board. These are the 1%. Did you really think the 1% wouldn't have security? Did you not listen when Dan told you that this is what would happen? And now you're seeing it. Don't be a fool anymore. It's Sunday. If you haven't got your ballot in, or if you're one of those people who's going to vote in person, vote for your Second Amendment rights. These celebrities don't care about it because they're going to be protected. They're going to be okay. Will you is the question. I don't care. I do not give a good doggone if P. Diddy has security. I care about my family. Luckily, you've all met my vicious guard dog Chloe. You've all met my vicious guard dog Zoe. So I'm good. You saw how vicious she was. I could barely control her. Anyway, so the resident goes on to say, everybody is doing it, adding elevated security to make sure that buildings are safe. So, it goes on to say, the Manhattan house on East 66th Street also recently sent out a letter to residents this week informing them that they are hiring additional security and asking the residents to be prepared. The letter stated they are going to anticipate and mitigate the possibility of civil unrest and violence following the upcoming presidential election. Here's a quote in here from Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown. Mr. Brown says, or Chief Brown says, many cities across the country are doing similar planning. We are all in conversations with our counterparts across the country about what we might expect, but everything is uncertain. So we're trying as best we can to anticipate any hazard that might happen, including a weather hazard. Snow might happen in our city, along with anything related to protests and bigoted agitators that might loot or cause violence or destroy property. Cities like Miami and Florida are also getting prepared. Miami Police Chief Jorge Colina agrees with Brown in not knowing what the future holds, but says they will be prepared, he said. We're going to have more people working, a bigger, more robust uniformed presence. Then we're going to have some undercover officers that will go by polling places. Well, that's cute. That's cute. Well, look. Here's a whole separate article from July 4th, 2020. Rich families in the Hamptons are rushing to hire private security guards after protests. So this statement is from Charlie McArdle, the co-founder of CM Security Consulting, said, and when all this started breaking out about 3-4 years ago, I had 3 friends. It was 4 of us. I said, let's put together a private security company. Let's put together a private security company. I could be sitting on my yacht in the Riviera right now, sending out other people to do these jobs. But it didn't work out, so it is what it is. Even though it looks like it's not too late. So, he goes on to say, my clients range from the 1% to people who are concerned about the political climate and what's going on today. We make sure there are no trespassers where they are away from their homes and when they are in them too. Business is booming after the protests on Thursday. Maybe I'm in the wrong business. And I'm going to show you why. Because there's actually an ad place and it's like, well, you know. McArdle said, people started thinking ahead and added security. They were worried about burglaries as unemployment soared, and then they started worrying about protecting their property from protesters. Keep in mind, these are the same 1%ers. Same 1%ers. Your politicians, your celebrities who are saying, abolish the police. This is Colin Kaepernick. Remember, he said abolish the police. He hates cops for some reason. Beats me, you know. That's on him. Don't really care about him. He's an ass. It is what it is. So one Hampton resident stated, the protests are so crazy. I first hired armed security guards around 2 weeks ago when the protests began and put a fence around my property to defend it. This is happening all over the country. So let me ask you, listeners of the Dan Dawson Show, did you put up a fence around your property? Did you hire armed security? Of course not. All you have to protect yourself, your family, your kids, your wife, whatever, your property is your ability with a firearm. And they're trying to stunt it and take it away. Are you going to allow that to happen? If you haven't voted, vote for your Second Amendment rights. Ridiculous. So I want to get to this video. So this is the ad posted by G2G. I don't know what that is. It's apparently a company. Event staffing. These are the qualifications you need. Prior military. Check. Law enforcement. Well, bail enforcement agent. So I'll go check on that. Medic. I was a combat medic. I actually have combat experience as a medic. Needed ASAP for deployment to Atlanta. Must have concealed carry license. I have that. Personal firearm. I have that. Body armor. You'd be surprised that the body armor I have is actually very expensive. Very good. I have a bunch of it. 10 BDU pants. Check. Black polo shirts. Walmart. Must be able to prove background. Send a DD-214. Check. Send a headshot photo. Check. Send a resume. Check. The pay. Hotel rooms provided, by the way. The pay is $600 a day. And this is the beginning where things haven't gotten out of control. See, I made this video against my own best self-interest. I told you, don't defund the police against my own best self-interest. Because people like me, when things fall apart, can make a lot of money. A lot. So, thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. I want you to think about what I said. If you have not voted yet and you're going to the polls on Election Day, vote for your Second Amendment rights. I don't care if the politician is Democrat or Republican, because we have Republicans who are also against the Second Amendment. Vote for your Second Amendment rights. Coleon Noir is right. I advise you guys to go watch his YouTube show and what he's saying. I do post his videos on my Dan Dawson Show Facebook. So if you want to check them out there, check them out there. So thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do.